Yeah, so the objective of even doing these class ofs, in this case, this is class of 1992, is to capture that history, to capture, our story, because no one else is telling our story. You know what I'm saying? Rather it's in film or books, it's our story, and it's getting it stands the chance of getting lost. So that's an immediate concern of mine. So when I think about like when we first met, you know what I'm saying? I think we differ on the details of this, but I remember it being in Miss Garrett's class at Crozier.
Yeah, no, you're right. I never had Miss Garrett, but we did meet in her class.
Exactly.
So that's what I was going back to.
Yeah, so and I remember like you had those fly Hulkamania dolls, and I was like, yo, like, I don't know if I even seen them in person prior to that. And I was like, yo, what I'm saying? Let me check that out, because you didn't know me. It was like, no, like, this is how we met. It's like on the straight, like, no, thank you. I won't be sharing anything with you.
You're right. A backpack full of wrestlers. You can't see one.
Yeah. We not cool like that. But that was interesting about Crozier, is that it was like a feeder school. Like you went to what elementary school?
I went to Centinela.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So I went to Highland, so it's not like, it was almost like we came there with crews, the crew that you went to school with, the crew that I went to school with. Like we came with like friends already, which is wild. And then you had to interact and mingle with each other. So yeah, it's good times, man.
Yeah, no, Crozier was, it was good. It was challenging for me because, like you said, coming from a different elementary school and having different friends, I was always the youngest kid. So the guys I hung with were already 8th and 9th grade. So it was just like me left, like, oh, what do I do? What's going on? Like, how does this work out? So it's like, I'm trying to build quote unquote stripes all over again, or find out, okay, where do I go? What's going on? Just basically was just me.
That's interesting. So Kiki wasn't like a close homie. He just was a neighbor.
Yeah, no, he was a close homie, but he was a grade above.
Oh, I see.
So we had the different lunches and stuff like that. I had friends that were 8th graders, but it's just like, you don't see them, you don't have class with them, you don't have lunch periods with them. It's just like, I'm the 7th grader and they're the 8th grader. Like, hey guys, they're like, oh man, get out of here. Until you get back home or on the block. It's just like, one of those things.
Oh man, yeah. Kiki had squabbles though. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he had them hands. I experienced them once.
Oh, yeah.
Young kids playing around.
Yeah, no. I mean, I almost got into it with him, and I'm grateful it didn't go any further. But I was like, because then you learn the legacy of folks. You're like, oh damn, that would have been horrible.
Yeah, a lot of anger, a lot of animosity, a lot of everything comes out at once.
Mm-hmm. So how was Inglewood on that side of town? That was like a whole nother world. Like Centinela Park was a fly park, but we didn't go through it because it had like, gangbangers by the sandbox. Like that's like,
yeah, no, where I'm at is considered like North Inglewood was very, very interesting because the dynamics of the gangs was 2 streets over was a different street gang from where I lived. And it was just like, it was so close. You could literally see the quote unquote enemy's house from the corner of my street. And I was just like, how does this even make sense? It didn't make sense to me. And then you get older and you realize same elementary, different junior high, different high school. So you roll with different crews. I mean, there was a section of the park at one time where it was a different gang in one area and a different gang in another. And it just so happened they all decided to go swimming one day, and it was an all-out gang fight. Just in the park, kids swimming, just the lifeguards helping break the fights up, fighting with the guys that they know. Oh, man, it was wild. It was wild times.
That is crazy. I didn't know it was I always thought about Centinela Park with the Centinela Park, gang. I didn't know it was that close to something else. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, it was this was early on, though. It was just like one little corner of the park that the 60s would hang out in, just like a couple of them or whatever that kind of grew up in that area around there. And, they all kind of knew each other from school, but it just wasn't a problem, but it wasn't cool. So if something happened, it happened.
Yeah, because there was like a rumor, that was also something like somebody dead that got found in Centinela Park, like some hillside strangler type of rumor that was floating around that kind of kept us from really exploring it. Because it was a fly park, big hills, trees, you know what I'm saying? Tennis courts. But I never really played in it. Like I've passed through it and then I celebrated like they had fly 4th of July joints there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was the fly thing, the K-Day breakers and all that.
That was great times, man.
Yeah, I wish I could come back. That was like probably some of the best of childhood memories was those 4th of July celebrations at the park, man. It was thousands of people just out celebrating, having a good time, fireworks.
So they don't do it anymore?
I mean, it was just so much stuff. No, it was, they say the program was cut because of funding, but, you know, me being nosy and digging a little deeper, it was because of the Inglewood Police Department got sued a few times, and that budget took the hit of, you know, the community can't do things because we lost the money to lawsuits.
Wow.
So, you know.
No, that was real special.
The last one maybe was 6 years ago, so probably like 2012.
Yeah,
so,
that's unfortunate, man. Because it felt like warm. Like that was really like a.
It was real community, and what Inglewood is really about and stands for is just everyone just needs a reason or a small excuse to get together, and it always just turns out to be the best. I mean, they picked it up with the event that they do, the Taste of Inglewood, that is becoming a big thing across of Southern California. That's phenomenal, but you know, it's just not that 4th of July thing. You know, it's good, but it's just not that.
So how was it growing up on that side of Inglewood, like, in regards to, I mean, because it seems like it's more residential in regards to houses versus apartments.
Yeah, it's definitely home based. It's not too many apartments. It seemed a little different. Like at Centinela, everyone kind of was in this area, and that's the elementary school that I went to. That everyone came from, you know, a house and a home, and not apartments or condos. And then you get to Crozier, and it's like people live in apartments. You don't understand like the concept. It's like, you live where? Like how does this work? And like it's just different. It's a different layout. You're like, oh, okay. And then you think it's real cool because you got 6 or 7 of your friends living in one place, and it's just like you go to that apartment building, you play all day long. But unfortunately for me, it was on the other side of town. I remember coming home from your house late nights on the bus and just having to walk through Hyde Park, West Boulevard. Like, man, this ain't safe. So what I did was found a different bus route where I could cut through Centinela Park, where I knew the knuckleheads versus have to run from them.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was
so you had that type of negative contact with the local gangs as well, or not so much?
Yeah, it was just, I mean, I stood out like a sore thumb. I didn't realize until later on in life. It's like there wasn't too many, you know, of my kind around. Mm-hmm. It was just like, oh, that's such and such. He lives in such and such. It's just like, oh man, knock it off. Like this is where I live. I didn't sign up for this.
Oh man, yeah, that is a major part that cats don't really recognize, is being affiliated. Like if I live in a neighborhood, I'm not necessarily banging that neighborhood, but that affiliation can be dangerous as well. That's deep.
Yeah, right. And it's like, you know, someone asks you where you're from, and you're not saying it in a manner of like, oh, I'm from Inglewood, but you know, we're proud of where we're from. But they take it as like, oh, you are, like, but not like they're taking it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it just goes straight hood. Like, no, it's not like you taking it, but yeah, but that is where I'm from. So it's like it becomes, all right, it's not about where I'm from, but if it's a problem with me as an individual, then you know what's going on. But it's a fine line. You gotta walk that fine line, show some respect, give some respect, and you just gotta really stand your ground.
So your neighborhood would be considered Brim. That's Brim's neighborhood, like, you know, historically, as far as
it's interesting. It's really CPF, Centinela Park Families, and then there was a little like side, not really a side gang or little, but it was a SFB 6'4" brim. They made a brim set out of 64th Street, but ultimately they were CPFs. But they had like their gang inside of the gang. They weren't 6 deuce brims on the other side of Van Ness. They were 6'4" brims, and that was like the local guys that protected the neighborhood.
Yeah, so what's the origin of brims? I mean, that sounds like that goes further back. Like that's one of the original neighborhoods, or am I mistaken with that?
I believe so, but I knew there were I remember families being around before the 6'4" brims.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it was just they hung out on 64th Street, and there was Brim Dog, Little Brim Dog, like all of them went to Inglewood, but they were a lot older than us, so they were like there literally 1 year. But I think families may have been around the longest. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm familiar with that. I think I agree with that as far as my little history goes. But I just knew that was an older, like you don't hear brims talked about enough, but just the name itself seems like it's referencing like the brim hat. Am I mistaken with the name being associated with the dress code? Because that's an earlier dress code.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a little bit before my time, but it sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody will fill that in for sure. Damn.
Yeah, no, it's a trip, man. Just how it all structures and everything. I mean, I can even remember when we were at Crozier, you had crews at Crozier. You had the Avenue Players, you had the Big Time Hustlers, you had the Legend Crew, and then it really came down to when the quote unquote big homies came to the school. It was like, man, y'all need to make a decision. Y'all gonna be Bloods, y'all gonna be Crips, and that was like the start of like a lot of people's gangbanging career in life.
So
it was like a big thing around the school. Went from crew to gangbanging. You know, it was a trip.
Yeah, that was it's so trippy. Like a lot of time and energy was invested in that. Like it's wild.
Yeah, and then you know, it was just like, and it was like a big thing around the school. Like, oh, I wonder where such and such gonna stay, or what they're gonna do, and what's gonna happen. It was a trip, man. It was the beginning of the end for a lot of people.
Yeah, because I remember that more so with the tag banging. Like we went from trying to just get up and get that notoriety to like some cats, you know, branching off and really being effective gangbangers. Like it's like, what the hell is happening? This shit ain't cool.
Yeah, no, it was because they wanted them to go strike up in other neighborhoods. I was offered a couple of times, I'll go hit up over here for us, and I just knew better. Like, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that one. Because it was just like serious. I mean, I even remember when I attempted to join Pop Warner football. I had played flag football in the city of Inglewood, and then I got to the 8th grade and told my mom and dad, yo, I want to play tackle football. So I went, I tried out, I made the weight. I'm playing with all these phenomenal football players, Stace Bozeman, a couple other guys, and they had been playing tackle all their life. So I'm like the new kid on the block. I don't know the drills. I'm out there getting knocked around. I'm like, damn, like, why doesn't nobody teach me or tell me what's going on? And I'm just out there getting punked. I'm like, this is not cool. It's not fun. So I was like, I got to figure this out fast, you know. And then it came time to get our jerseys, and they gave me the number 60, and I was like, I can't take that home. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I was like, that's not like accepted in my neighborhood. And they was like, well, you from a gang? I was like, no, I'm not from a gang, but it's just people just don't do it. And it was so funny trying to explain that, man. It was so funny.
Yeah, that is too funny. Damn.
Yeah, it was just like, you just can't do that. Like, it was hilarious. But it's man, it's been fun. I know I wouldn't change it for the world. A lot of very, very good experiences, a lot of traumatizing experiences, but what can you do? You just gotta kind of roll with the lane that you're in and stick to the course, and hopefully everything turns out as well as it has thus far.
So how'd you come across graffiti and wanting to participate in that particular subculture?
I had always been a fan of like the old school hip hop joints, the wild style and stuff like that. I was fascinated with New York culture, and I wasn't like a very good artist, but I figured out enough to get by with the tagging itself. And then I ran across a kid in Miss Garrett's class, didn't want to share some wrestlers that I had, and I kind of went from there, It's just, it happened to be, we had something in common, and it worked out, and it just kind of went from there.
Oh, okay, so that's kind of your origin story as well. Okay, I didn't know if you was already rocking. I couldn't remember if you was already rocking, and then we merged.
No, it was, we started, I started with you.
That's crazy, man. What do you remember what ACT stood for? I couldn't remember that, Joe. I remember Always Cause a Threat was one of them.
Yeah, that was the one that I always said.
Yeah, and then, I know A Creative Team. I think somebody came up with that. That was decent, but I couldn't remember.
I remember we were hanging out, and we kind of made a nice little name for ourselves in junior high, and then ninth grade we got to Inglewood, and I remember one night we went out. You remember RJ? It was RJ Shone and somebody else. Shone 64 refugees. They had Ice Cold Artist.
Ice Cold Artist. That's what that was. Okay.
Yeah, and then we all had went out tagging one night, and I split off and went with RJ, and everybody kind of went their separate ways and hitting up around the neighborhood. And he knew this wall where you could hit up where the 107 bus would see your name. So he's like, man, we got to hit this spot right here. Mm-hmm. Everybody will see us up in the morning. So we went and hit the spot. And as we're leaving and walking up the street, the sheriffs roll up on. I'm like, wow. Oh man. So they like get us, and what are you guys doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm going home. And he's just like nervous. And I mean, I'm nervous too, but I had to stop by the cops before. I wasn't really like whatever, and this dude actually told them where we hit up at, and they was like, oh, you got to paint over it. And I was just like, oh man, I can't hang with this dude no more. But it was hilarious, man. He was like, dude, we got to paint over it. They're going to get our parents. I'm like, Doug, they don't even have our name. Like, what are you talking about? It was hilarious. But long story short, in the morning, everybody saw our name. So it was just like a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they got up right there. So it was just like, yeah, you felt like, okay, I have arrived.
Yeah, that 107 went through the neighborhood for real. That was a really interesting bus line. Like, damn. Like,
yeah, no, that bus was, that bus,
corners,
man, that route was vicious. Yeah, that was a vicious route.
I remember Dice used to hang with that RJ, and Dice had a beautiful sister, man. That was...
Oh, yeah. It was, who was it? It was Dice. It was Show 64. It was Sydney. It was...
so Sean
Rion
used to rock with RJ. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Remember that they did a nice piece up on Hyde Park that they did for the school, and I was fortunate enough to be a small part of it because I wasn't the best with the gang.
So that was Sean. Sean was up there. I didn't know that was wow.
It was Sean. Yeah, it was Sean, RJ, and he wasn't a Tiger. This dude named Jermaine. Remember, Jermaine Price went to Inglewood with us. That was the three that was from the high school. And then Sean had the relationship with the guys Rev and Realm that came and did those totally ill characters. Man, them dudes are legends.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, it was in the year, but the only thing sucked, it was in black and white.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, it's one of those things, I guess a budget cut or whatever you want to call it. But no, that was a incredible time with the Krylon cans and making your own tips and fat caps and all that stuff. No, it was wonderful.
I remember it was some gum on some shoe that seemed to have 14 colors to make it,
Oh, yeah.
It was
that dude's fading skills was incredible. Yeah.
What crew was that? Was that West Coast artists or?
I can't remember. Them dudes still got some art up in Santa Monica too that I see every once in a while too, man. It's just like masterpieces. I'm gonna have to go get a couple of flicks of it just to save.
Yeah, indeed. Because I remember it was a few cats that was real like we looked up to, at least I did in regard. I remember Case used to be like, seemed like he was on every bus. He had a tag or a carve. Man. Like, that was. Case
was the ultimate dude until Chaka came along. That dude had legendary stories of riding his skateboard from LA to Vegas right on every pole. It was ridiculous.
Wow. Because I remember they had that one nice little run. It was like KCC and some other crew, but it was like Drama and Mad. Like they were up for a minute, like right before like KWS and NBT had split or something. It was I forget the dynamics of that, but they had a serious run. And Rust had a killer run too. He was up. And Rear, it was a few cats that seemed to stay up all night for that graffiti fame.
Yeah, man, it definitely was a super fun time and interesting, and went from the bus locally to all the way to Torrance to Palos Verdes to downtown.
Did your moms know about that? I would have been in trouble if my moms knew how far out we were. It was wrong.
No, we just kind of did it. We just got home in time. You know, it was just like we knew to be home before them street lights came on or in one another's house. Like, oh, I'm at his house or I'm at this person's house. Well, let me talk to their mom. And then they talk to them and everything's fine.
It was so much involved in that. Like, even when you think about the forgery of the bus passes, like that's.
Oh man, that was classic. Cut out the little picture of the little kids from the Sears catalog or JCPenney's catalog.
That is crazy.
Forgery and not even knowing how deep the forgery was, just to get on the bus for free.
Yeah.
And had money. Our parents would give us money to buy a bus
but the subculture was like, you don't buy supplies unless you're a toy. You know what I mean? It was so many rules, man. Damn.
I really wonder, dog. I seriously, I really, really wonder of how much money Aaron Brothers lost during that time down on Hawthorne Boulevard. Man, that spot used to get burnt out.
The design markers, that was crazy.
Yeah, the Peace books. Yeah, the Peace books. The mean streaks. Remember I don't know, did somebody show us or did we heard about it when you could turn it up and cut it in half with the razor and you have the two color mean streaks?
Yeah. I remember Sean was selling those color mean streaks. And then shortly after that, I remember it was like the two color ones was everywhere. Being extra fresh. Yeah. I remember getting that little air compressor out of that Aaron Brothers for the airbrushing.
Oh yeah, that was insane. Yeah. That was
the one time I remember you going like, "Oh man, like it's good. This ain't gonna work." It was like, yeah, it's gonna work, man. Like,
oh man, we had some adventures, man.
Horrible.
Too many adventures. Like, oh my god. I actually remember the first time running up on the bus and tagging. I put my initials and my mean streak broke on the window. You was like, yeah, you got to get it off, man. You look like a toy. And I was like, man, it was hilarious. I'll never forget it. The adrenaline was so crazy. And then after that, it just became like, yeah, we gotta do this.
Yeah, I mean, and I wonder if how much of that played a factor, the adrenaline part, because it was a serious addiction to.
Oh yeah, definitely. It just you became numb to the gut feeling of wrong and was addicted to the rush. Like, oh, I can do it. I can get this off. I can, and then it just evolved. We went from the tagging to scribing to the stickers to like just all kind of stuff. It was. Yeah, it was.
I don't think we stayed on the piecework long enough, man. I still that because when I see it now, it's like damn, like it could have been us because a lot of them cats got 20 years experience, and I mean, if we would have kept at it, type of thing. But by then, it was hard to find paint, like those places.
Yeah, definitely, they had.
Yeah, they started locking it up and all that. That generation before us, that right before us, They changed the city and how they did things. You know what I'm saying? They racking was obviously insane. Like to make people
they
put
had some different
different
resources. Yeah, but no, it's funny. I went to the Delicious Vinyl block party a couple months ago down off of Adams, and while Karis One was performing, Old School Create was doing a piece while he was live on stage.
Rocks the
he
Nation.
Was doing some aerosol art, and on the side of the stage, and did a nice Karis One piece while he was performing, and it was a trip just to see that guy up there. Like, yo, I used to write with him, and he didn't live too far from me, and this dude is just eating off the aerosol art, man.
Yeah, as it should be, man. Like, as it should be.
It's nice. It's refreshing, you know, that the people that stuck with it and it's paying off for them is good.
Oh, yeah, they got sponsorship and everything now. Now it's actually considered art. Because then it was just a crime. No. Somehow it was a crime.
Oh, yeah, it was just like, no, get this out of here. It's too many colors.
Yeah, now that's part of, like, the gentrification bag. It's almost like if it's not no street art, then, you know, the neighborhood ain't artsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
exactly. Like... Albuquerque in Venice is prime example. Like, if you don't have a nice mural on the side of your house, it's not a real Venice house. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. Oh, man. Did your moms let us paint in your house to try and keep you off the streets, or she just was cool like that?
I think it was more or less my mom's theory always was, if you want to do something, do it at home. Don't go out there and get caught up or don't know what you're getting into. It was just like, yo, just, you know, don't hide things. Of course, we hid things and hiding markers and stuff like that. But the main thing was like she wanted to, you know, be supportive in the best way that she could. And that was like one of the coolest things ever. It's just like, man, I could do a piece on my wall in the room, and she bought the cans for us. It was just like, this is unreal.
Yeah,
like,
that was fly.
That was just like one of the best weekends ever. It was just like, oh my God. I still got pictures, man. It's just, I look back at that like, mom's was dope, and she saw something and really supported us in what we're doing the best way that she could, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a trip, man. I remember us going to the arcade joint in the marina.
The
Westworld.
Yes, man.
Yeah, the old school arcade, Westworld. She would drop us off and pick us up. We'd be 6-7 deep in the car.
Man, that was good times, man.
Yeah, it's just like $20 you was on.
Yeah.
Arcade, movie, and a
little slice of pizza,
yeah. Yeah, it was just like, man, we was living.
Damn. Yeah, the arcade, man, I even remember Jola Bowl and the little games that they had in there. Yeah, oh man.
Yeah, but if you went to Westworld or Marina, you was
doing the most. Yeah.
Yeah, it was different kind of girls over there.
Oh, it was like. Remember, if you stayed after a certain age, you had to be a certain age. I think they closed it officially at 10, and if you wasn't in
10,
it was like,
yep.
Damn.
Yep. What was the other joint that was in the arcade that was in the Fox Hills Mall?
Time Out or something, right? Wasn't that?
Time Out, yeah. That was another one.
Hey, that's when Fox Hills had that big orange piece of art in the middle of the floor. Like, that was crazy.
With a little water in the bottom. Yeah, it was just like, man, what is this? Stairs to get up and down. Like, you look back like, man, they don't knock it off.
Yeah, but that arcade was fly too, man. Damn.
Yeah.
Right in that little corner.
The one that everyone forgets about, we actually had our ditch day there when we was in the 8th grade. You know, I remember all this stuff.
That castle?
Hawthorne Mall.
Oh, okay.
The Hawthorne Mall.
Yeah, I don't.
We went to Hawthorne Mall for that ditch day. Yeah, we went to that arcade in there too. Yeah. No, the castle was.
Remember they had the miniature golf and they had a little arcade inside.
What was the name of that castle? What was it called? The castle? I can't remember the name of it. It was off the 405 freeway somewhere. It wasn't easy to get to though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
You remember the old what was that joint called? The old Town Mall. Remember that mall was
they had the couple of rides in there and the merry-go-round in there.
Yeah, it was like the trash mall. Like, you ought to keep going further. It seemed like it was between Hawthorne and Delamo.
At Delamo.
Yeah, Delamo was the truth back then. That was like one of the biggest malls in the country.
that thing was like a city.
Remember the Hawthorne 6 though, the multiplex. That was like the first one of those.
That's where I think I saw a break in there.
Oh.
Yeah, we went down there and saw a break, and then, that was before my bus days. I was like sixth grade went to that one, but then once we got those little bus passes, it was over.
Yeah, my early movie days was on the Baldwin. Remember the Baldwin used to be on Coliseum on La Brea? Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I saw The Last Dragon and a few key joints. And if you got dropped off with the older sibling, like you was really in a game. You know what I'm saying? Because you wasn't there with a parent.
Yeah, it was just like, yeah, Baldwin Theater, man. That was a classic one.
Yeah, because I think it was one theater too for a minute.
Oh yeah, it was just one show.
Yeah.
Yep. I actually remember the last time I went there. I was a senior in high school with the football team. We went there for our big night where he spent the night at the school, and then he played offense against defense for the green and white game the following day or whenever. We went to the movies the night before to Crenshaw Baldwin, and I borrowed my dad's truck, and that's when the homies could ride in the back of the truck without getting in trouble. So it was like 2 in the front and like 4 people in the back of the pickup truck. Like it was just nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Good old Baldwin. Crenshaw Baldwin, next to the Jungles.
Oh yeah, the Jungles had a reputation forever, man. It was like,
oh yeah, that was like, yeah. I remember one time I rode over there with my buddy Jermaine, picked these chicks up, and he turned his radio off, and I'm like, turn your radio off for? He's like, man, if they see the lights in the radio, they'll try to carjack them. I'm like, but what the hell are we doing over here then? Like, he was like, man, we go pick these girls up, and I'm like, oh my god, this is too much. He had a Volkswagen Rabbit with some bazooka tubes in the back. He had bought the radio, and I bought the speakers. We pieced up to get some sounds in the car.
Yeah, that
was hilarious.
Car culture used to be killer. I remember the Nissans with the center line deep dishes on it.
Oh man, it was insane. I remember my buddy down the street, dude. He had the 280Z on the center lines, and he actually polished his out to make them chrome. I was just like, oh man, this is sick. It was Trayvon's older brother, Jamar.
Okay.
Had the Z. He had the gray Z on center lines, man. I think it was a 280 T. It had T-tops. It was just like, oh.
Shit, Quentin's little joint was tight too. That little bug he had.
Yeah, you had the bug. You had the Celica. The bug was classic. Yeah, I remember that joint. It was, he primered it out and dropped the front down. Yeah. Yeah. It was just like, you would see that stuff and be like, man, I can't wait to get a car to go on Crenshaw. Like, man. And then the culture had changed so much by the time we were driving. It was still there, but it wasn't the same.
So you actually made it there. I never made it to walk up and down that strip. I remember it was like Sundays, everybody would go, but I never made it. Did you ever make it to just hang out?
Yeah, no, I made it. I actually made it and went a couple of times and wish I wouldn't have went. No, man, it was tough out there. It was tough. I remember cruising Crenshaw literally prom weekend from like on that Sunday, because the routine was prom, after prom, Magic Mountain on Saturday, and then Crenshaw on Sunday. When I tell you, dog, we cruised Crenshaw from like 6 at night to like 3 in the morning. Wow. It was ridiculous. Yeah, no, it was just so much fun because, everybody had the fresh rental car and out there hanging out. It was a good time. Super good time.
And then I remember Johnny Pastrami was on that one end.
Down there at Adams.
Yeah, that was good eating right there, boy.
Yeah, the building's still there. It closed not too long ago, but it's the building's still standing. I wish someone would come in and kind of renovate and keep some things going so it doesn't lose its heart and soul or really what it was about,
Mm-hmm.
Good old Johnny's.
Yeah, there was a few good eateries, man.
I remember we used to kill the Chinese joint right there in Inglewood, Randy's, the Chinese with the, we used to murder that.
Which one?
Right there on Market Street.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
We used to kill that.
And then the pizza slice place on the other end of the shopping center was good. Nobody went into H Salt, though. I don't know what that was about. I don't ever remember nobody eating at H Salt.
I started eating eight salt later on. I was like, man, I've been missing out on this. Yeah, no, I've been missing out on this. Like, eight salt really was like, it was pretty decent. I was like, man, we've been missing out on this.
Yeah.
And we should go to House of Tacos and play the video games in there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Walk by the bakery and get the free samples, because that was my route going home. Walking home was through the Market Street Shopping Center and then down through Cinderella Park into the house.
Yeah, I remember
the other way.
I walked with you when I had a little crush with what was that tall sister's name? Tamika or something. It was a little moment in time where I ended up walking your way home just to walk with this.
She lived by the park.
Yeah.
Oh,
she had like little knock knees.
Now you bring back memories. I remember that. I think it was me. Was Richard with us?
I don't know. Probably that. You know that dude. Yeah. If you was dealing with a girl,
Tanisha. It was Tanisha, Tabitha, and somebody else, and they were friends. And I knew them good because I went to elementary with them.
Yeah, but Rich, he was a ladies' man. So if I know,
he was 2 steps ahead of us.
Yeah, exactly. So I would hope that he was with me to help me, through that awkward moment.
No, because I remember being with somebody and their mom came on. We had to hide in the closet. I think that was me and Rick in that Tanisha house or something. I can't remember, but I remember a little bit.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, it was wild. But I actually remember the first time I did school was with you. I think Rob was with us. And one other person, we went to your house when you was living across the street from Highland, and we played Nintendo. I remember that. I'll never forget that. Side gated Crozier. I remember. I was like, man, what are we doing? But it was so much fun.
I remember, if it's not the same time, because Rich was with us, I remember taking some spray paint cans from like Mr. Richardson's class or one of those classes, and going through the side gate, and Blondie or whatever that security guard name was, like calling us out because the school was so small. It wasn't like it was,
Right.
And we ran through like that City Hall parking lot, and then got to those tracks, and then we did some little tag work over there. So I don't know if that's the same time if we ended up at my house, but that was an interesting ditch day because that's like Crozier. How you ditching from Crozier? And everybody knows everybody.
And you know what's so funny is Blondie is still at Crozier to this day.
Oh, that is scary. I mean, I don't know what to think about that. That's deep. Job security, I guess. No. I guess it's a good thing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Even though the place is all remodeled, and then she's still there. Like, they didn't remodel.
She's still there. Yeah, man. I went by there. I was like, that's Blondie. It was pretty funny, man. It was real funny.
Yeah, Mr. Crow was there, was the principal, and I remember his assistant was that tall, slim woman. I don't remember her name.
Oh, you got me on that one. I just remember Miss Hazelton, the finest teacher in the school.
Oh, Hamilton was her name.
Hamilton, there you go. Hamilton, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, I think Quan had the good fortune of actually having her. I didn't have her as a teacher.
Nah,
man, but she was out of bounds, boy. That was something special.
Yeah, you just think back, like, man, what was they trying to do to us with letting her try to teach us?
I liked Miss Duncan's little Anita Baker look too, though.
Oh yeah, Miss Duncan was cool. We actually had that class together. Miss Duncan was she was fly.
And then I think it was Miss Hamilton was an attractive woman as well, the science teacher. I think that was not Hamilton, but the other name, Hazelton or what? I don't know what her name was.
One of those. I can't remember.
Yeah, that was a nice little sample of. I think our attractions are shaped at younger ages, so I'm glad that we had that list of beauty. Yeah. It
was just like this or that, or how about them both together? It's like, it was good.
Yeah, because none of the girls at that time, man, they weren't really checking for cats in the school, man. I remember that was a problem because it was like
they was.
Remember the dope dealing situation really altered like what was
cars.
Yeah, what the expectation was for a 12 or 13-year-old next to a dude with a pocket full of money, like, and wheels.
Yeah. A Suzuki Samurai on some rims. Like, come on now, we don't stand a chance.
That was a hella popular car. That was crazy.
Oh, them cars are man, those cars were hilarious, man.
And they were horrible to ride in. It's like...
Oh, it was terrible. It was just like, what? Yeah, that That was funny. I remember the classic ones around, man. It was just like, and then they had those little convertible tops on them. And you only
but the
had
music
one
was
seat
always bomb. Yeah, the speaker
you had
box.
the 18s in the back. You had one seat. Oh, man, that was classic era. Rhodium swap meet, you go school shopping, get you every color Levi's.
Oh, yeah. That was crazy. Yeah. It was like no shame.
No, not whatsoever. Like, man, I'm going to the Rhodium. I'm getting every color Levi's. I'm getting some corduroys. I'm getting some Cortez. And if I got money, man, listen, if you got money left over, you're going to go get you a chain from the Gold on the Roll and a Dr. Dre mixtape.
Hey, I remember when the Inglewood Swap Meet first opened, and it was no shame getting them knockoffs in there, the reversible Gucci and Louis Vuitton belts.
Man, that was so classic, and then you cut the keychain to make it fit. Come on, dude. Sergio Tacchini, K-Pop. Although nobody really wore them at our school.
It did the Turkish link. Remember the Turkish links? And if they broke, the women made little earrings.
Man, come on. Yeah, that was classic.
Cross cords. What was that about? Cross cords. That was like official after party gear.
The cross cords and silk shirt was the gear for the dance. Or the thick cords, like, oh man, it was sick, dog. It was sick.
Shit.
Definitely, man. Now the Inglewood Swap Meet, man, that one was
because it used to be like Montgomery Ward or something. That's what it used to be.
No, JCPenney's. JCPenney's. My mom worked there. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mom's actually worked there. Yep, she worked there. I remember that. And then when it reopened, I was like, man, this place feels familiar. I said JCPenney's.
And they came
the old school Sears on Manchester, where Vons is now. The Sears, that was the one that was.
Yep.
Boy, you had them elementary school pants, them tough skins.
Yeah,
try to wear them pants out.
You already know that was official. And then it was empty for a long time. And I remember when Bruno's was cracking. I remember IHOP on that corner.
Yeah, Bruno's is still there. IHOP is something else. But Bruno's is not, it's not what it was. Or we just got wiser with our food decisions, one or the other.
Did you ever make it to the Forum when it was a Lakers home?
Oh yeah, definitely. Mr. Bradley, rest in peace, across the street, took us to that mid summer night Magic All-Star game where Magic Johnson would do his All-Star games, and then Ava Pops Freddie took us to funny story, dude. Ava's dad was hilarious. He was a Celtics fan, and we all liked the Lakers. So he was like, yo, I'm going to take you guys to the Lakers game. And we were like, all right, cool. Man, this dude wore the whole Larry Bird warm-up outfit to the game. We were so mad. But he took us to the game, so we couldn't be too upset.
That's funny.
That was a good time, man. And then we got a little older. We were sneaking into the Forum to go see the games and the concerts. Figured out that hustle. That was like 10th, 11th grade, though.
Well, let's go back to your block, because you had some beautiful people on your block, man. That was man. That was all right.
Man, it seemed like my block, man, we had 8 kids going to the same school. My block the block was so cracking that because of the civil unrest in 92, the LA riots with the Rodney King verdict, we didn't have a senior picnic. We had a picnic on my street.
Wow.
All our parents got together. Ava's dad barbecued. We had scraped up some money and got some other stuff. We literally had like a picnic on the street because we didn't have a high school picnic because of the damn riot.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
What was that one sister's name lived like on the other side of Ava? I think it started with a T or something.
Trevon. That was her brother that had the Z. Yeah, Trevon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. You kind of had your eye on her. I know. Now
I act like I remember her name. Like, who?
Yeah, like, what's her name? Yeah, nah, man, it was Ava and Wendy was here. Trevon and her brother was here. And then James Star lived across the street. And then his mom and them moved and left the house to him. We used to have the house parties over there. And then Kiki and Quentin and Kevin across the street. Oh man, it was a lot. Earlier on, this is before our time though, but Tara Banks actually lived down the street from me until her moms and pops split and everything. So younger, man, it was a lot more people, man. But
yeah, that's Mr. Johnson, right?
Say that again.
I know. Mr. Johnson was in her life in some capacity.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson ended up remarried. And that's how it was crazy. Is that I knew Mr. Banks that lived on the street, and then we got to Inglewood, and then Mr. Johnson was her stepdad, and they kind of got reconnected again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, it was a trip. Yeah. Yeah, good old Rogers Park dances and the basketball games.
That was wild. That's actually where I heard one of the best rap battles was in the bathroom because of the acoustics with the beatboxing, like two cats. Remember Frenchell? That dude
man, he rapping English and Spanish.
Dude, that dude had skills back then, and I remember he battled somebody. Yeah. It wasn't really a battle, but it was.
Yeah. Frenchell was before his time, man. He was cold. I would have put my money on him against anybody at that time.
Yeah, it was a trip how vested we were in like art. Like if you really think about that, in the midst of all the other things, whatever was going on, there was a handful of people that was really committed to like hip hop. Like it's like, damn, when you think back to it, it's like, remember going to see what's my man's name? Steptoe. I don't remember his first name.
Oh yeah, DeAndre Steptoe. Yeah, we went to
that was. I think that was Funky Circle. I think that was the name of that spot, man, which is a legendary underground hip hop spot. I just didn't know the name. I think it was Funky Circle, but you remember something else or Circle?
No, I think that was it. Yeah, man, that was classic.
It was so much going on. Like that's when even the dancing cats, like it was that housing era, man. That was real acrobatic flyness. And you remember this dude? What's my man's name? He ended up getting signed to Good Music for a minute. Sarah or something. They was they were like Scrap and Scoob Lover. They went to they was with the dancers, the Prepsters in Inglewood for a minute, and they had like transferred from Westchester or something. And I think somebody found out that they was from an opposing neighborhood or something. But dude, anyway, these dudes was in that building, and the dance moves that they were doing, that's like, dude, incredible art. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like that was a real beautiful like time. I mean, I like to break dancing now. It's a lot of power moves, but that housing era, man, that was something fierce, man.
That was fun with the long braided belt, the baggy jeans.
Yeah, it had a whole subculture. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the time we went to the K-Day concert at the Celebrity Theater in Anaheim, and it broke out into all-out just riot.
I remember.
We was hiding in like by some apartment because we called my mom to come pick us up from the payphone.
Oh my God!
Oh man, I think it was like De La Soul, Tolo, Big Daddy Kane. Like it was a all-star lineup.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, my cousin and aunt had lived out there, and mom's posted up at their house until the concert was over. Man, I remember that. The Celebrity Amphitheater, that was it, with the revolving stage.
Yep. That was one of the best concerts I've seen, yep, to this day.
Oh, man.
And it was some older eighth grader there, too. Did you invite somebody else, or we met somebody up there from Crozier?
I think we went to that. We was at Inglewood.
Oh, we was already there. It was an older, whoever was.
Oh, yeah. There was this chick that was in the 12th grade, and I asked her to go to the concert.
Oh, my gosh. It was, it was out of our league talking about it.
Yeah, I was in the 9th grade. I see, you bringing it back. I was in the 9th grade. I had a foods class because I got kicked out of Spanish because I didn't understand. He thought I was being funny, and I took foods class.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a senior chick. I'll remember her name in a second. And when I was talking about the concert, and she was like, "Ooh, I want to go," and I was like, "Well, I got an extra ticket." And then I had to convince my mom to buy the extra ticket. I think her name was Shalana or something like that. Man, I can't remember her name.
Dude, she was out of our league, boy. I just remember it was a few of them that was nice to us, but definitely didn't necessarily like us romantically.
Yeah, it was just like,
friend zone,
we were just
for
cool
real.
guys.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was like, man. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was a celebrity theater. I think I went there a couple of times. Abe and Wendy had went with us one time because Freddie had went and stood in line when K-Day was on Crenshaw and got us tickets. He was always good for the hookup for us too. He always said, "Man, Freddie had the plug on everything."
Mm-hmm.
He got the legendary footage of the graduations, the
So why do I think I thought I grew up calling that man Lucky? Am I mistaken?
Lucky, yeah, that was his nickname.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Calling that man the wrong name all these years.
Yeah, no, Lucky. That was his name, Lucky. See, he was lucky. He had to hook up on everything.
Yeah, he was dope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that was good times, man. Freddie, he supported us a lot, man, more than we ever could imagine with just his presence of being there and coming to football games and rallies and recording. It was slide, man.
Yeah, because having recorders back then, man, that was a luxury for real. Them huge gizmos.
He actually had the old school video camera where you carried the like damn near the VCR with you when I was in elementary. Dude, he always had the gadgets.
Hey, remember the mobile phones, the early ones, dude? It was like carrying that same type of. It
was almost like a book.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. But you was balling out of control if you had one, though, man. Cass was really.
Yeah, man, I remember, man. Dude, they had the first time I see cable TV was across the street at Kiki and Quentin's house. Nice. They had on TV. Mm-hmm. After 8 o'clock, you switch that switch, and it's just one thing playing. Oh man, we lost our mind. And then we used to get into Mr. Bradley's record collection. He'd tell us don't play his stereo. So we'd be in there bumping his Atomic Dog records, like playing all the classics like vinyl. And we knew what time he would get home, so we turned it off and put everything back. Man, one day he walked in the house and put his hand on top of the receiver. Like, who been playing stereo? I was like, I gotta go home. He was like, "No, you ain't going nowhere." Oh man, we got so much trouble.
Oh man, yeah, touching the TV was classic. People used to touch the equipment. It's funny.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be on punishment. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh man, thought we was getting away with something. Yeah, but that definitely, man, God, it's so much stuff.
And then Centinela Park swimming pool was amazing. Like that used to be.
Oh yeah, that's why I learned how to swim, dude.
Yeah, that was like a highlight of like the summer. Like, is it open yet? Type of thing. Like that's when summer actually started. I
actually worked there for 3 summers too. That's how I stayed in shape to play football and do everything. It was just like football workouts was nothing.
Because I remember the daycare joints up there.
The day camps, Centinela day camp.
Yeah, and then the people that used to what do y'all call y'all, the counselors or whatever?
Summer youth.
Yeah, y'all used to be attractive, man. And I remember the cats that weren't in summer youth programs and weren't doing that. We were like, let's go up there. You know what I'm saying? That was another reason to go up to
and hang out.
To hang out because it was nice little tenders up there, man. That was interesting.
Yeah, Centinela was a good mixture, man. It was dude, I remember I was really, really young, though, but they actually had archery in Centinela Park, man. I was like, man, that park used to be, dude, phenomenal. I hope it gets back to that. They got some really nice soccer fields now with the AstroTurf down and the football field, and the pool is still there, and it's nice, man. They got the playhouse just got redone, so it's some great things happening. You know, it just gotta. Hopefully he doesn't lose his heart and soul with all this gentrification going on and the stadium and all that stuff. You know,
let me ask you about parks in general in LA, because this was a floating theory, and I couldn't confirm or deny, is that gangbanging and dope dealing ruined everyday people's like participation in them. Like, would you say that's an accurate observation? Like, because you still see Spanish speaking folks playing in the park, living in the park, not living, but, you know, and then you don't see other groups. Like, it's almost like black people stayed away because of, and I just didn't know if that was an accurate theory. What's your take on that?
I think for a place like Centinela Park, that wouldn't be true because it's an outdoor park. It's no inside venue. You're not confined to any quarters. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think Rogers Park had that reputation of, if you didn't know the knuckleheads, you didn't want your kids there. But I mean, I hung out there. My mom's worked there. We used to go up there, play pool, table tennis, basketball, all that stuff. But I don't know. I can't.
Because that's like a problem across the board. It'd be nice parks, but then it would have to be a for sure holiday for us to be in there. Like, you know what I'm saying? It would have to be Memorial Day or, you know what I'm saying? We just don't go to the park. Is what
we used to go to the park though. Every day after school, we'd go to Rogers Park. It was, but we kind of knew everybody. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. As an outsider, like even to this day, you'll see less people really taking advantage of those green spaces. That's been an observation, and then somebody tried to root it back to that.
I think that's true to a point to where, if you're not in Parks and Recreation or don't know about it, you won't go. But man, Stenola Park is thriving and booming more than ever. Nice. They got a skate park in there. Kids come from everywhere. Like, it's, I don't know. I
hope that's not true. I don't know. That's kind of, I don't know. I couldn't see it from that standpoint. But I know you didn't visit too many parks outside your neighborhood, though. No, that's for sure. Like, because that's exactly where they would be hanging at. Yeah. As a matter of fact, it was the neighborhood was named after parks. Like, it was a trip.
Exactly. It's, but like Kenneth Hahn, like a lot of people still go to Kenneth Hahn and always would go to Kenneth Hahn. And that was just it was almost like a safety zone. I don't remember too much stuff ever happening at Kenneth Hahn.
No, Kenneth Hahn was official. I remember when they first opened that was amazing.
Man, that was just like a dream come true. It was just like, man. Oh, yeah, no, that was a good one. Yeah, I remember going up there and sneaking in where that old Bone Hills Dam was and having rock fights and stuff. Like later on, when I worked at the pool, we all would go up there and mess around. Yeah, man, good old times.
Now, Rogers Park was an interesting part that because we did know everybody, it didn't seem like what it was to outsiders. You know what I'm saying? When you hear other people talk about it,
right.
That place, it's a pool table in there. Meet me up there. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, like nothing.
We go Crozier, we go Jolabo, we go Rogers Park. Like it was routine.
Yeah. I remember Super Sprint. That was my favorite arcade game, though. By the way,
which one?
Super Sprint. It had the 3 wheels. It was a race car game.
Oh yeah. No, I remember you was tough at Spy Hunter too. We used to play that one at 7-Eleven right there on Eucalyptus.
Yeah. What's
so crazy about that is that when Timberland sampled that Spy Hunter record, that made me remember us going to play that game at that 7-Eleven and getting the freaking Caramello candy bar.
Oh, you already know.
That was our joint.
What? That was horrible candy in regards to it was hella chocolate and hella caramel. It made no sense.
It was sugar.
Yeah.
It was instant diabetes.
But that is still, if I had to say, that's my top 5 to this day. That was killer candy. What?
Yeah, man. It's just crazy when I heard that sample. It triggered the memory and like, damn.
I remember my pops.
And I don't even know if he intended to do that, but that's what it did.
But I remember my pops. I went to a function with him, and he made a store run, and he was like, "What candy bar you like?" And I told him that because it was new. I remember because we was on it. It had just dropped too. That's funny. And this dude, this dude must have brought back like 10 of them. You know, one was too much. I mean, that should have made your mouth hurt. Like it was bad. And I remember
one square at a time.
So this dude got me 1 square times 10 bars. Like, what the hell? And that was a really good little outing, man. I was like, good looking, man. Like, that overkill hit the spot. Like, what's up? Pops was good like that, though. You know what I mean? He was great like that.
He's like, here, you want that? Here, take 10 of them. He's like, oh.
Exactly. Because I remember he used to take me school shopping, and it was like Bugle Boys was hot like the year before the tapered khakis and white T-shirt, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because I got put on by this cat that went to Sarah. You know, Sarah had some cutting edge, you know what I'm saying, style back then. It was something about Sarah, you know. So I remember trying to dress like them. Nobody else was dressing like that in Inglewood at the time. And I remember I said, yeah, I'm going to get these. And he looking at them like work pants. Like, you want those? Like, those are like work pants, khakis, right? Dickies or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but we can get them tapered. Like, he's like, okay. Like, and I just need like some t-shirts. Like, so he was like, are you sure? Like, he was so uncool with this year's fashion selection, man. That was a funny time. He recalls it sometimes like, what the hell was that little segment? But it was necessary. It was fly, It didn't last long, but it definitely was.
It was clean too, though. That was the whole thing.
Exactly.
It was super clean.
Mm-hmm.
And the taper would make the pants fit just right on the Vans or the Cortez.
You already know.
Man, listen. He was like, woo! So I remember, like, because, everybody got the retro Jordans, right?
Mm-hmm.
I tell this story to the young kids all the time, or the younger generation that got the shoes on. My claim to fame at Inglewood for tennis shoes was I was the first person at school to have the Jordan 3s.
Mm.
That was the black joints with the cement around it.
Yeah.
I went with my mom on like a Tuesday night, some random ass night, to the Fox Hills Mall so she could pay her, remember the department store, the Broadway?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She went to go pay her Broadway card.
Broadway.
And she paid in the
May Company.
She paid in the shoe section, and I saw the Jordans on the shelf because we used to try to get our Jordans from Inglewood Sport on Market Street.
Mm-hmm.
But they had them on the shelf like on a Tuesday, and they wasn't supposed to come out till like Friday or something. And I saw the shoe. I was like, yo, you got these shoes right now? And they're like, yeah, they're for sale right now. Like, it wasn't like no big deal back then for Jordans. It was just they released them and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at my mom. I was like, yo, I need these shoes. And she was like, I think there was like $120, man. Yeah. I begged my mom, like, please. Dog, she bought me them shoes. I wore them to school the next day. I think I was in the 10th grade. Everybody looked like, where in the hell did he get these shoes this early?
That is killer.
I'll never forget that. Yeah. Never forget that.
No, that was a big deal because I remember Shorty used to try and be the one with the Jordans first. Like that was that was his joint. It'd be that was the start of that sneakerhead business. Yeah,
the whole everything. It was on it before then. Like, man, if we would have saved them shoes now, we'd be billionaires.
Yeah,
we used to wear them. I wear them till the soles fell off. Yeah. The rodeo swabby was classic, dude. The t-shirts with the fake Gucci, the Booyah, oh man, there was so many classic slogan t-shirts, man.
Oh man, and that seems so far away back there. You going to the rodeos like Torrance, like.
Yeah, like shoot.
And then you had to park like across the street and be in that little school bus to drop you off. Like, it was
you couldn't walk in; you had to take the bus.
Yeah,
rodeo was still booming too.
Oh, it's still cracking.
Still going. No movies at night, but just full-time swap meet.
Damn.
Yeah, full-time swap meet, man. It's a trip. I go up there every now and again just to walk through and kind of laugh and remember all the stuff. Yeah, that place was classic.
Yeah, well, we can continue this soon, man. It's been a pleasure, man. Definitely.
Oh man, walk down memory lane is always good.
And we gotta try and keep this preserved. You know what I'm saying? Because
and I know the more and more people that check it out, it's gonna just build and build and build and turn into something that's gonna be phenomenal. I already know it.